Hi folks, I've called this particular video Do Your Ears a Favor. And it really is a look at what is your best Morse code pitch, or as many prefer to call it, your Morse code tone. And this is an extremely important factor when you're learning Morse code, to be able to pull those precise dits and daws out when you're on the air. It helps. Same thing there, pulling noise or pulling through noise, I should say, and trying to hear what that other operator is sending to you. And of course, the reverse is also true when you're sending. What are they, what are they going to hear on the other end? So it's an important topic, and I just thought I'd introduce this one. I did a quick little YouTube short on it. So this is just looking at it a little bit more detail, showing you where to look and how you can adjust it. So let's get into the video. I'm Keith, Victor Echo 3 Sierra Victor Quebec, also known as the shaky key. Here we go. Now, as we go through life, we are exposed to lots of noise. In some cases, it may be your occupation. Maybe you work in a factory. Maybe you're in the military. Maybe you're a heavy equipment operator. All sorts of different reasons why your ears get bombarded by noise. In my case, definitely there's a few of those in there. By the time you get into your 50s, you're starting to lose some of that hearing, especially the higher tones, that higher frequencies up there. Those are the ones that we start to lose. And this is one of the reasons, family members start saying to you, you're talking too loud. Will you turn the TV down? And of course, there's nothing wrong, according to us. Well, there probably is. And I would suggest if you have a hearing aid clinic somewhere nearby or a hearing clinic somewhere nearby, some of them actually have free hearing tests on the top. Click on one, do yourself a favor and listen to the results and see what's happening. Nevertheless, by the time you're into your 50s and as you get older, you are going to lose some of that hearing. When you come to study Morse code and learn Morse code, of course, that's going to impact. And what's going to make a difference is the tone. So when you are listening on your radio, you generally adjust the tone. Now, in single sideband, we always do it, right? You go into single sideband. If you're going to be doing, let's say, DX contesting or something like that, or even hunting POTA and there's pileups, there's ways to tweak the tone, the bass and the treble and so on, so that you can break into pileups. We've probably all done it at one time or another. When I was doing a lot of contesting in single sideband, that was certainly something we looked at. But when people switch over to Morse code, most people don't change anything on their radio. They just leave it. It's got a factory setting, and hey, that's good enough. But in reality, it's not good enough. And in some cases, it may actually hurt some of your activities that you're doing by coming out with a tone that most people really don't like. So what are we talking about here? So listen to this, and I'm going to play 3 different tones. And what I want you to do is listen to those 3 tones and decide which one would probably work best for you. And here comes number 2. Let's see what you think about this one. And here comes number 3, another tone, a little bit different. What do you think about this one? All right, so those are your three different tones, just to give you an example. Now, for instance, the first one was 550, 550 hertz. That's the one that I use for myself, and yes, senior hearing aids, right? So I find that one to be pretty clear because I've got the hearing aids, which are making some adjustments. I can really go between 550 and 580 hertz, and I really don't detect that much of a difference. I use the 550 because when I teach, I have a lot of seniors, and that's simply a better tone for them when they're listening to Morse code. However, I can go, as I said, up to 580. If you're younger, you may be up in that high sixes, even the 700 range. And the second one was the factory setting for the G90, the Zygu G90, which is at 800. Now stop and think, that's really high. And I actually, with my ears and the hearing aids, I find that 800 very irritating. And it's just one of those things. I can pick somebody out who's in a park using probably a G90 because they've got that high 800 pitch. And generally, I'll try and get them a couple of times, but at that point, it's really starting to irritate. It's like a piercing sound going in one ear and coming out the other. And then I move on to another one. So that's something you got to think about too. You may be transmitting and enjoying it, but what are the people on the other end thinking? And the last one was 450, so it was down a little bit lower than where I have mine set. When I asked this question in the shorts, most of the people who answered were in the fives. There were some down in sort of the high and mid threes, which is quite low. That's a very deep sound. And there were a few. There was one now, what do they call it? Tinnitus, which is a serious problem, which does create listening problems. He has his up around, he mentioned the 900s. And that's something I listen to, but for my ears, it just doesn't work. So these are the things you have to do. What particular frequency works the best for you? Do you have hearing aids? It will be different to somebody who doesn't have hearing aids. It may be, your ears are not balanced. One ear is worse than the other. In my case, it's my left ear, or it is worse than my right ear. Lots of different things come in, which is why it's fun to actually get your ears tested at some point and see what's going on with them. But you can adjust, and that's what I want to look at here. All of your computer programs, all of the apps you use on your phone, all of your radios, unless it's some of the older models, you can adjust the tone. And the idea here is to find the tone that works best for you. So as I've said, in this particular one, I was using the LICW practice page, and they have a symbol off on the side where you can, set your tone. And you can take an exercise like that last one where there's a string of Morse code and start moving it up, 550, 560, 565, 570. Where is it sounding crisper, clearer? Or you can go down. A lot of people find the lower tones as you get older, the lower tones are much more beneficial. Now, one of the issues that comes up with Morse code, and I've seen a few people discuss this topic on various YouTube channels, we associate the higher frequencies, especially if we come from single sideband, we associate the higher frequencies as getting through to the other operators better, which it does. Morse code is the reverse. It's the lower frequencies that people will pull out. So don't panic and think if you have to go down into the fives or the fours or something like that, that the operators on the other end are going to lose you in pileups. I found myself sitting in a park. It's those low tones that come through. I can pick them out anywhere. Partially it's my ears, of course. But think about that. Adjust it. So when you go into your program, if you're going into an app or into a computer program, for instance, LCWO Net, which is a great practice program if you're studying on your own. I mean, that's one of the better ones out there. Just go into the settings, and under settings, you will see tone. Play with the tone. Run a string, take whatever they give you and run a string of characters, dits and daws, and play with that setting. See what works for you. If you're on an app on your phone, go into the settings. Look at what it's set at. A lot of them are going to be in the 700s. That's the basic one. Start working your way up or down. In most cases, it's going to be down. Find that one frequency where all of a sudden it just, wow, I got it. All right. On your radio, same thing. Now in the IC 7300, they don't refer to it as tone. They refer to it as CW pitch. And same thing. You go in there and you adjust it. So now what you've done, you've adjusted your computer, I'll use that as an example, or your phone app to a certain frequency. You've gone into your radio. You've adjusted it to that frequency. Now between the two, you're going to hear the same thing. So when you practice sending and you're hearing yourself on your radio, it's going to be the same tone that you use on the computer. It just makes it a lot easier. But overall, in the long run, it's going to make everything a lot easier for you when you're listening to Morse code. So like I said, give your ears a rest, give your ears a break, help them out. Try this. See if it works for you. It's Keith, Victor Echo 3, Sierra, Victor Quebec, the shaky key. Wishing you a great day. Please like, share, comment down below. Have a great day. 73.